It's what is it like being in those companies, like whether it's Facebook or any sort of tech company? For someone on the outside, we look at it and we say, like, how are those fucking places run? Because it's like I've had a good friend who was a big executive at Google, and now she works at another large tech company. And the way she described it to me, she's like, it is utter madness. It's utter madness. And the lunatics are running the asylum to a certain extent, because there's a lot of people, the company that she works for now, there's a lot of people that are inside the company that legitimately are mentally ill, and they consider themselves activists, and they have to placate them because it's a certain percentage of the population of the people that work for the company, and they're the loudest, and they oftentimes don't get work done, and when confronted, they talk about their activism, and like she's like, listen, you are here for X amount of hours a day. This is your fucking job. You're not an activist. And don't think that if you're complaining about other things that this company does, that you doing that is a part of your job, because it is not.
Yeah, I mean, I think the companies are somewhat to blame because they've done the whole like bring the real self to work thing, right? And again,
what is that?
There's this philosophy among like the HR there that like, and if you're being cynical about it, it's engineered to get the most productivity out of you. Like the real self to, like if you work at some of these companies, particularly, again, to answer your question, I think it depends what stage of the company you join. But if you're talking about big companies like Apple, Google, Facebook now, it's a campus, it's a lifestyle. They do your laundry for you. They feed you.
They do your laundry?
They can, yeah. There's like
Apple does your laundry?
I'm not sure about Apple because we were never in office because it was still under COVID, but Facebook had laundry. I'm sure Google does, yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's weird. You join, I mean, it's a strained analogy, but it's kind of like a cult, and there's like a massive amount of corporate culture. Like I described this a lot in Chaos Monkeys.
Who said that? Who said that quote that every successful startup is a cult?
I think it was Keith Rabois, from Founders Fund. And the thing is, he's right. He's right. Like Facebook was a cult, and I joined it, and I was a happy member of it. It was very powerful. Everyone sacrificed themselves for the sake of the Facebook empire and its emperor.
Did it change your own personal thinking while you were there in the cult?
Oh, yeah.
Did you subscribe to the Kool-Aid?
I totally bled blue. I still do to a certain degree. Absolutely. Because, again, it's a formative experience. Like, some of the most impactful professional work I did was there, like it or not. Taking Facebook ads from, like, the shitty, stupid little iPad offer ads on the right to, like, literally the thing you just looked at or bought, which I know sounds cringy, whatever. That changed everything. I was one of many, to be clear. It wasn't just me, but that changed everything about that company and was super impactful inside the industry. Like,
how much of an impact did it have when Apple came along and introduced these restrictions where you could
huge.
opt out of? Yeah,
you're talking about ATT, which is like the ads transparency thing. For those who don't know, if you've got an iPhone, like you download an app and suddenly there's like this opt-in that Apple is showing you, saying, "Hey, do you want to share your data with these people?" That's hugely impactful. What that does is, so why does that matter? So Apple controls this. They create the hardware and the software and all of it, right?
Right.
At the end of the day, seen from Apple's point of view, Facebook, as powerful as it seems, is just another app in the App Store, right? Which was always Zuck's fear, which is why he wanted to build a phone. Apple can say, look, Facebook, you don't get to track users as well as you used to. You can't track Joe Rogan down or like anonymously your device ID. You can't do that anymore. You only get a certain level of granularity. It's
how much tracking were they able to do that before that?
Well, I mean, an infinite amount. They would track you individually. I mean, whether it's worth doing or not, it's another matter, but they would get the individual device ID from your phone. And so they would know who you are in terms of that phone.
Well, what does that entail?
Like, again, if you go to Cabela's and buy a thing, then you go to you're playing a casual game and they show you an ad. You playing that game and you buying that thing in Cabela's can be individually joined in a very precise way. And if you remove that and say, oh, you can't track Joe Rogan's phone, you're tracking 100,000 people at a throw, then they bucketize you. They put you in a bucket that isn't quite as precise as before. And what that translates into is fewer clicks, fewer sales, like the effective amount of money that either the advertiser makes or the publisher that's showing the ad makes goes down.
Now, is this for the end user, for the person who has the phone? Is it beneficial that they've instituted these policies?
Good question. If you get a warm, fuzzy feeling inside, knowing you're not being individually tracked, yes. But other than that, not particularly.
But it also doesn't give up the access to your data that's this very valuable commodity for Facebook, right?
So here's the tricky thing about data, right? One of the many misconceptions that I try to address in the book about how Facebook works is it's often not Facebook data that's being used to target you. Because if you think about Facebook, right, it's like you're posting random photos, you're engaging with content, but a lot of your commercial activity, like booking airplane flights, shopping for shit, doesn't happen on Facebook. Facebook doesn't know about that, strictly speaking. So how do they solve that problem that, like, we got to show him fucking shoe ads and Facebook doesn't know shit about what shoes you like?
Right.
Well, so part of this is what I described in the book and what I helped build in the early stages. There's a way of joining you, Joe Rogan, Facebook you, to Cabela's you in some relatively data safe way that lets Cabela show you an ad for those shoes. Facebook doesn't necessarily know all the Cabela shit because Cabela's doesn't want to let Facebook know that shit because they don't trust Facebook.
Right.
And so a lot of the stuff that's going on isn't like, oh, Facebook knows everything about you. It's like, no, Facebook knows who you are on every device because you tend to use Facebook everywhere. Maybe not you, but other people. And so that means that they can join you very well to all the other commercial activity you do. And you use Facebook a lot. So they have lots of opportunities to maybe show you an ad. So that's really Facebook's strength. But getting back to your original question, how does Apple fuck that up? Well, it fucks it up because it doesn't know who you are on that device at the individual granular level anymore. And so it can't talk to Cabela's and say, oh, that guy who's will look for these weird things, like show him this ad. That can't happen anymore.
Is it in any way negative for the person who's the end user?
Good question.
Because maybe you would want to see those ads because this is something that you're actually interested in purchasing.
I mean, in the happy case, but let's face it. I mean,
in the happy case. If you're a person who's, you have full control over your urges. You're not a person who's just like, you can't afford something, but you buy it anyway because you're fucking crazy and you saw the ad and you can't help yourself. Because we know that there are people like that out there, right? So, in the best case scenario, is it better?
I would think so.
But isn't that like what you do as a business?
I think the status quo is a lot better than the like stupid punch the monkey ads. You used to remember those ads in like display banner. You probably don't remember them, but like in Yahoo.com back in the day, there'd be like a little moving target and you could like punch the monkey. Like you can either see that bullshit or you can actually see an ad that maybe has a chance of being relevant in Instagram feed. So yeah.
Do you give anything up to have those relative ads?
No, in fact, I mean, you gain things, right? Like a lot of services wouldn't exist if they weren't paid for via ads. So like the reality is, if Facebook's ads start sucking more, i.e. the amount of money they make per ads goes down, they're just going to show you more ads.
So do you think that Android phones handle it better? Because Android phones allow more of those things in?
Man, it's a super wonky question. I wasn't expecting this, Joe.
It's wonky?
Yeah, no, it's good. I love talking about it. But the model that Google and Apple have are somewhat different.